Greetings, listeners. My name is Von Fry, YouTube's least liked movie critic, and today I am doing a commentary track. This is particularly for Netflix on The Fast and the Furious, directed by Rob Cohen, starring Vin Diesel, Paul Walker, and probably some other people. If you would like to listen along and cue this up with your viewing, it is on Netflix, of The Fast and the Furious. I guess this is leaving September 1st, so it may depend on when you're seeing this, and it'll probably bounce over to another platform. But hey, go ahead, get that to 000, and hit play now. This is a movie. And yeah, I always seem to start these with "this is a movie." I didn't see this in theaters. It made some buzz, but it was kind of like just guys talking about just guys who had some interest in automobiles. And this really led to a surgence in the tuner racing scene. All the cars featured in this spiked in popularity. They all had been out of the Western crowd for some time, and I'll be getting to that as I see them. They were still in production in Japan, but the cars they used here suddenly became very expensive. All right, look over here closely. We got a bunch of DVD players is what we have in this truck. Okay, look at that. There's a portable TV. It says Panasonic. It's like a little portable TV, I guess, has a DVD player built in, or that might have been VHS tape. Couldn't see real quick. I have seen this on TV a few years ago, and they blurred out, digitally censored those boxes. And I'm not sure if it's because Panasonic had a falling out with the movie. I think it actually has more to do with the fact that being DVD players that are getting stolen, going through this much effort for DVD players and combo TVs, the young audience possibly watching can't grasp that, so they had to change it to just electronics. You sometimes do get that kind of manipulation in movies. You can't watch anything on basic cable as far as films go, because they'll always say edited for time and content and to fit some format of the screen. That's always a possibility. So now we have our Honda Civics. We are pirating, I guess boarding as one would as pirates here, a semi-truck. You know, props to the driver here of the semi. He seems to be rather chill, and the guy gets in, and he's got a bat ready for him. Oh, we don't want to kill the driver. We'll hit him with a dart. Knock him out in time, huh? So there they go. They steal the truck. And I think you'll see there's something about the undercarriage of this trailer. It is so high up. There's nothing underneath it. Yeah, there you go. The Civic darts in, and that's totally impossible. No truck sits that high. Have you seen a semi-truck? They have all kinds of things underneath them. They're not just going to let some lowered Civic get under it. And that's just to kind of show you that this crew knows business here. Interesting transition here. The time lapse that takes us from the night to the day. That's better than a hard cut, a cut to black, fade out. And I think this is one of the first movies that really did that. Here we have Brian O'Connor, Paul Walker, in his Eclipse. Not the strongest choice for a race car if you're going to be doing this. It's got the four-banger. Mitsubishi had more powerful vehicles. One would probably have gone with the Lancer Evo or the GTO/3000 GT. And yeah, we're supposed to be getting the sense that he's quicker. Look at how shaky the camera is trying to catch up and chase him as he's going through this parking lot. You don't get that in the new movies. Everything is so done in computer that you can't, I'm talking about in the new films, it's so computer that you can't even get something realistically shot. Everything is smooth. It's a ballet. There's a Ford, isn't it Lightning, right? So Paul Walker's character here, he also has the cool fast truck. We have quite a diverse bits of music in this. You know, this is before they took on music people like Ludacris in the films, but you hear a lot of songs in this, and it will remind you of the early 2000s when we still kind of had rock music. So you go into this little shop that is set up almost like a taco truck, and you get like a tuna sandwich. Is that right, buddy? Oh, Jesus Christ. I hit pause here because my subtitles weren't working. I'm probably going to be a few seconds behind you guys. No crust. Yeah, shit. Who's this jacked guy with the sleeves cut off of his shirt, huh? Got a bit of a hero entrance there. He's got his back turned. Vin Diesel, at this point, was not a big star. He did the voice of the Giant in Iron Giant. He got killed early in Saving Private Ryan. He was making this movie Knockaround Boys. I think it was released sometime after this. It was Knockaround Boys. And he was walking down the street, and he said something. This is between takes, or maybe they were on lunch break. He said something like Seth Green, and Seth Green said, had told the story that he was enjoying not being mobbed because he said that in a few years he's going to be so famous he can't go anywhere alone. And that kind of sort of became true. Then it wasn't, then now maybe it is again. All right, so we got various cars here. There was a Golf that looked like crap, honestly. The Golf, which that one right there, that white with some blue, that got picked. I guess Frankie Muniz from God, not Everybody Loves Raymond. Malcolm in the Middle. He bought that car afterwards, so he was bragging on like Rosie O'Donnell's show or whoever that he had got the car from Fast and Furious. Like the car, no, a car, not a hero car by any means. One that even loses the race it's in. So you got this crew of toughs over here showing up. Not a lot of them have stuck around with the franchise. You know, one bounces back into the group, gets killed. Shit, what's Michelle Rodriguez's name? It'll come up. Our character. This guy Vince is a bit of a hard ass. He must be a little protective of Jordana Brewster. Mia, that's okay. Oh God, I'm gonna be kicking myself for not remembering Rodriguez's character's name. What is that, like an S15 Sylvia type thing, or Sil 80? Watch your back. We gotta have the music make the sense of the scene, I guess. Man, Jordana Brewster was so fine around the faculty. It was just like, geez. And even in this movie, this is near the height of her powers. Vin Diesel doesn't look a whole lot different now. I don't think he looks as muscular now. He might look a little thinner, really. And we know he's shorter than The Rock, but I keep seeing pictures of him looking taller, like he has positioned himself on a rock to look taller than The Rock. He was in my face. I'm in your face. One of the things about Dom here, Toretto, he's got some good lines. He's tough, but without talking too much. He's to the point. He's a little scary. He's an intimidating guy. Brian Spillner sounds like a serial killer name. Well, are you spilling blood? Is that the idea? All right, we're chasing away customers. The only people allowed to eat at my sandwich shop are my friends. Oh, you work at some performance place? Yeah, well, I'm going to have you fired because what I buy there is so influential on the kids in the community. Little outlandish, ain't it? Now, the funny thing here is that of the cast, at this point, the car guy is Paul Walker. But the way he talks about the car stuff, and he's knowledgeable in this, it's not terribly convincing. Paul Walker was not the best actor. He looked like a movie star. He couldn't necessarily act like one, but he was such a nice guy. Just everybody only has great things to say about him. And there seems to be a recurring phenomenon in Hollywood that when a guy is like a man's man and he knows his cars, be it Paul Newman, Steve McQueen, and now I guess you could even say James Dean in some capacity, especially when you consider died in a Porsche crash. Paul Walker has kind of like become the next of those guys. Let's talk about Nos. Here we go, another cool transition. I don't think the series still does this. The editing demands in the series now are so extreme, you can't have a shot linger enough to get that transition effect. And I think that I'm not going to do all the series as far as commentaries. I'm probably going to do my next commentary, Tokyo Drift, and then call it good on these. I might do Fast 5 if I see it streaming somewhere. But you will see a huge difference between the two in the style of the film. This is not a bad looking film. In stills, it looks okay. It looks like a Hollywood film. It doesn't look like the biggest thing ever. A lot of things don't look terribly dramatic or overly stylized. We just have a bunch of random scenes of chicks walking around. They got some skirts. You got a few different little crowds here. You got your black community, you got your Hispanics, you got an Asian crowd. They have their gals. Oh, but pretty much everybody's driving the Japanese cars. Here's Hector. I believe he shows up in 7, the last one with Paul Walker. I got a last name too, but I can't pronounce it, so yeah, okay. Real scholar. Ja Rule, you know he's got to be kicking himself for not remaining with this franchise in some way. Because he has that in. You're in the first movie. You're one of the more famous people in the first movie, though you have a very small role. And then you go to prison. Jeez, you know Ja Rule's short. This guy Hector's got to be short as shit, too. Paul Walker's 6'3", just towering over these guys. It's not how you drive. It's not how you stand by your car. It's how you race your car or something, right? Okay, so here's a crew showing up. We saw a little earlier here. Toretto's gang. I kind of feel like the car Dom has at the start of this movie, this RX-7, is the best one he's had in the series. I think it's the coolest. It's so tricked out. It's like the James Bond of illegal street racers. A very small vehicle as far as the footprint of it goes. It's nimble, has a rotary engine. He probably has a triple rotary in there. Didn't he say it's like 8-second car or something? Is it Letty for Rodriguez? I saw some blonde chicks talking to her man. All right, so we got a race, and Brian O'Connor, to try to get himself thrown into this scene, is offering up his car first night. Hey, who wants an eclipse? So check it out. It's like this. Shit. Oh man, if you didn't know his character was a cop at this point, you've probably been arrested a few times, falling for the same thing. Check it out. All right, what do they say here? Cool air intake, Nosfogger system, T4 turbo. They make this guy out to be the nerd of the group. Like he's the one building the cars, setting them up. They're going to get into this later, and it's kind of comical. Got enough NOS there to blow yourself up. Yep. All right, you're in the race. And we got the kind of dance music going here. I swear I've heard some of some of the music in this get played in a test drive game around this time period. Like they kind of, a lot of the car racing games even tried to be like this movie. And when I say like this movie, I mean particularly the first one. And when it comes to the street racing scene stuff, the getting the neons under the cars, everything lowered, body kits galore on all kinds of not necessarily sports car cars. Because like you look at what's at the, okay, there's an MR2, tons of Civics, Eclipse. Like as sports cars go, most of these are not sports cars. There's a GTR, that'd count. Tells the pizza man off, and the pizza man is the director cameo. Goddamn street racers. They're listening for the police radio, and they're waiting for someone to get killed. Are they going around doing the killing so that they can free up the street? Hey, the police are busy with a cop got shot, so I guess we can race now. Conveniently. You just waited for that, or you had one of your gangs go do that? Alright, so what do we have here? We got an Integra, probably Type R. The Eclipse, he can't get to the starting line, correct? Way to go, Spillner. The Asian guy, director Cohen there mentions in the commentary track that he's wanted with the law. Like the law's after him in particular. This scene is a bit racier than you get in most of the franchise. Full-on boob grab for Ja Rule. I'm yours, win or lose, but if you win, you get her too. Looks over there. I rented this movie on DVD, and it was one of my first DVD rentals. And a lot of those early DVDs had pressing issues where the movie would skip and you didn't know it skipped scenes. And so much of this race gets skipped. There's Ja Rule drops an F-bomb. I never heard it. Well, then I was working at it's really at the same time I was working at a grocery store's video department. I could play any movie I wanted, usually something family friendly. And well, hey, Fast and Furious PG-13, play it. Oh, F-bomb comes in I never knew about. I like that seat over there. He's got a trick seat with where all of his NOS is stored. You can actually get a trick seat. I think the Dodge Avenger had it, and now maybe the Challenger does. And it might be illegal in some places. You're not supposed to have hidden compartments in your car, but if it's OEM factory stuff, it may not necessarily be illegal. It's just a feature on the car. Spewing fire out the back. And go. Now we've got our CGI shot inside the engine. Now, correctly enough, you did see the rotary there. It wasn't a bunch of pistons. And they're off. But think about the speed at which they say they're going versus how fast they actually go in these movies. And by these movies, I'm talking about really the first one where it's about drag racing. After that, it's about road courses or a heist or getting revenge and military shit and all kinds of outlandish stuff. This is supposed to be like, what they say, 10, 9, 8-second cars. It's taking them way longer than that to go a quarter mile, is it not? And we have like this warp speed look going here. We have a lot of effects. We've really doctored this up. Oh, you're going to be busy working your laptop instead of actually racing. Sure, okay. High-tech stuff there. Look at this. You go warp, but you don't actually go fast. It's creatively extending the race. It's messing with time. This would actually be a great scene to show a class when it comes to editing films or even direction, and talk about just kind of like creative manipulation of time in film. Look at how chill Vin Diesel is. Oh, you've blown it. Shut up. It turns off the laptop there. This is stupid. Hey, he's going so fast at like what 150 that the car is falling apart. That's a Mitsubishi for you guys. Zing. Oh, come on, Brian. Yeah, I can do it. And then it kind of comes down to whoever can hit Nos last wins. Oh, you hit it? You hit it too soon. Now I'm going to hit mine. The longest drag race ever, guys. Totally loses control of his car over here. It's burning up. He's not too terribly concerned because it's not really his. Okay, everybody's got to gather up and talk about this. Oh man, I lost money to Dom. But I get to keep his car. And then he's going to pull this shit where it's like, oh, well, now that's messed up. It's not the one I wanted, so you owe me a different car. But Brian plays along because he has to try to get in with this crowd to try to figure out who's been stealing the combo TVs. Oh, yeah, we kind of got the soft N-word. F you, then. Yep, that's... I don't think we get as PG as that again in this franchise. Though I'll tell you this, in Too Fast, Too Furious, the villain, Cole Hauser, has like this rat he puts over a guy and like heats up the can, and like it could have gotten pretty grisly. Alright, it's time to laugh at you. Why is he smiling? Dude, I almost had you. Oh gosh. You almost had me, you never had me, you never had your car. The Vin Diesel impression, very difficult to do. I'm not really going to try to do it here. It is such a throat killer. He almost had me. Everybody starts laughing. Yeah. Look at the style of people in this movie. Just the high and tight haircuts. Just something I can't put my finger on with the clothes. The fit of the t-shirts. It's just not the way people dress anymore. People have tans. Like they go outside. Look at the guns on Vin Diesel. We got cops. Okay, we could have heard you the first time. We need a scene of everybody running frantically to the cars. That's why we set up the helicopter to capture this. In theory, your car's sitting there, parked. What law are you breaking? I guess, is it illegally parked? Do you need to speed away? Does this not make things more suspicious? They didn't catch you racing. Are those the Crown Victorias? The trusty cop car of the, it seems like forever, 80s through 2000s. I think you can still see some Crown Victoria cop cars in some places, maybe rural county. Oh, look at the madness. Look at all this action, guys. All these like far away shots from the helicopter. Yeah, okay, your car just drives across and then pulls over here. Yep, exciting stuff. It's such a different game in this franchise now. This counted as action in 2001. Fast and Furious franchise. This was what action looked like. You know, it says Veilside. Does he even really have a Veilside kit on that? Because I'm pretty sure they've got like a full Veilside kit on Han's RX-7 in Tokyo Drift. Anyway, is that the Caprice? I think that's the Caprice cop car. Instantly recognized as Toretto. His leather jacket here, it looks cool, but people wore bigger jackets back then, a little looser fit. Okay, so I'm going to rescue him, and that'll score me some brownie points. Yeah. Remember, his car was shot to shit, was burning up, and now he's driving it effectively. Oh, look at this turn. We're turning to the left, guys. Action. Nearly empty street. Cop car gets T-boned by a station wagon. Action in 2001. And there's a jump. Okay, I can give you some credit for that. Yeah, I got away. You getting in good graces might let me keep your car. You ain't keeping your car. And it's not going to be because of me. Ever done time? Oh, I looked you up. You're boosting cars. You were in juvie. Yeah, Jesse's the tech guy. He can find anything on the web. He has access to Google, buddy. He knows how to use Facebook. Yeah, I can relate to you a little bit. I went to prison too. They make a big thing out of this in really this movie and I think maybe a couple others about Dom not wanting to go to prison again. Yeah, they're not gonna take me alive, copper. But and now it's like that was never a thing. It's just like, okay, so now I'm secretly working for the government faction team force of whatever, under the special guidance of this elite group, and gosh, it's gotten so far away from reality. This film, unlike the majority of them, there's like a culture clash thing. You have the various factions in the street racing. You got these guys on bikes, but they also have cars. But you have this thing going on where they're. Did it say that they were Japanese? It might have. They have a big thing about family and how things work with them and their ways. You don't really get into it with the Hispanic culture. Maybe some in Fast and Furious and a little Fast 5. Johnny Tran. That I don't think that would be a Japanese name. Would Tran be Korean or Vietnamese? Oh, so I haven't taken delivery yet, so if you mess it up, you're going to owe me a different one. This guy Lance looks like a complete psychopath. Right away has the machine gun out. Sorry, SMG, okay. See you in the desert next month at Race Wars. Oh, I got something for you. It's a Honda S2000 Big Whoop. Now, this is weird. Everybody takes off, and then Lance comes back and guns the car down. I mean, I guess everybody could have watch this, wouldn't you want to see the car blow up? That'd be kind of cool and exciting, right? Definitely not aiming at any people, but sending a message. Nice. Kaboom. Very nice explosion. I like that green flame. You don't get real explosions these days, guys. Drink it up while you can. What was that about? It's a long story. We got a 20-mile hike. Humor me. A business deal went south, plus I made the mistake of sleeping with his sister. Oh, okay. So which was it that pissed him off? Also, I want to see his sister. Ah, yes, the once ubiquitous yellow cab. Now replaced by Uber. RIP. So this is Dom's place, and people are kind of celebrating. He won the street race. I guess that makes sense in a way. Oh, now we get a little shirt off action here, but back turned. Ooh, you might want to watch that again in slow mo. I had not seen this in high definition, but yeah. Oh, we got some progressive girl on girl play here. Look at the way women dress in this crowd. There's a lot of wearing black, uh, short skirts, bare midriff. You don't really see girls dress like that now. Every girl wears pants. I think girls are now just heavier and they don't do the bare midriff thing. Unless they're on Instagram, then it's bikini. This your beer? Now it's mine. No thanks. Don't really want to drink his beer, to be honest with you. And it's also a little weird. They're watching a movie on little TV, and when people had smaller TVs back then, watching Dragon the Bruce Lee story, which is directed by the director of this movie, who did it. I don't think he did a Fast and Furious after this. They also have Gran Turismo playing on one of the sets here. That was your beer. I want to wipe this off. I still would not want to drink that. Oh, look, you're moving up the ranks here, Spillner. You're almost in with us. You're getting his beer. This other guy, I swear, nothing really bad happened to him. This guy with the black tank top. That's right, dog. I don't think his character died and he just disappeared. Letty had a certain attitude about her. Michelle Rodriguez, she had this movie Girl Fight. Was that around this time? She was sort of being groomed to be like a tough chick in Hollywood, and she starred alongside Mila Jovovich. She's on the poster for Resident Evil, and then killed off late in the movie. Hey, we're going upstairs. You deal with these guys. Mia constantly trying to break up fights in this movie. Do they really use the same house for most of these? Like when they have the family picnic and stuff, you know? Was it the start of 6 where they have an explosion with it? Or, yeah, I think it was. But that was in the front. Was it the same house? It's supposed to be. The kind of money this guy's making in these movies within the narrative could easily have moved out. Well, okay, maybe not. Property values in Los Angeles are pretty extreme. It's amazing. You got to be rich to be poor in Los Angeles. Because this looks kind of like a plum, crazy poor place. You're almost slumming it. It looks like the type of house that'd get drive-by shot up, doesn't it? Sirens blaring. What do we got here? We got a little bit of a turn in the story. Getting pulled over. There's Ted Levine as kind of his partner / boss. And it's always funny when Ted Levine plays a cop. Granted, he was the captain of police on Monk for years, but he was also Buffalo Bill in The Silence of the Lambs. We're taking you in, because that's the way that we're going to communicate with you. It makes it look good. You're going to get the reveal that he's a cop here. I like the realism. You never know who's watching. I don't know why they have this house in particular for this job. I don't think it's something that would actually happen in reality. The police just take over a house like this. Oh yeah, it was Elizabeth Taylor's. Yeah, it's been in movies and things. Yeah. $80,000 eclipse, huh? I think this guy here is in the second one, still as the boss, but I don't think Ted Levine's in it. Kind of gets replaced by Ajax from the Warriors. Oh, you're a Sarge here, huh? So often there is some kind of police liaisons or police presence that the street crew has to work with in this movie. In this one, they're working against them. Oh, you do this, maybe you can be in the FBI. Is that what he's saying? We're looking for Honda Civics that glow green underneath. You seen anything like that? If we don't find out who these guys are first, bring them in. These truckers going to take it into their own hands. Start packing guns. Yeah, I'm not saying he's necessarily the one popping these trucks. Can we talk like an adult? Such an elaborate police HQ for this. I don't honestly think they need that many cops over here. What are those guys doing in the background besides looking like they're doing something? All right, so I got to get another car. All right, well, the budget's a little tight, so we're going to get one that's dilapidated. In truth, I think they would just ditch this. There's no amount of work you can do to fix this. You could pull the engine out, and that is if the engine's pristine, which if you look at the rest of this car, you're thinking the engine exploded. And you're not going to like fix these parts up or the body. You're going to have to get everything replaced. You're better off just buying a different Supra. Take a look under the hood. It's got the stock engine that came with the car that you expect to be in there. The 2JZ, that's the turbo. The Super Turbo got such a huge hero car Halo reputation out of this. To be the chosen car that represents the movie, the car that gets fixed up, that goes with the race at the end and all this stuff, and somehow doesn't return. You don't get more of this car throughout the series. It's kind of surprising, to be honest. Yeah, one of these sold at auction. I think this and the RX-7. There's a few different ones. For like the hero car is the most pristine one, the one that doesn't do any stunts. Okay, but also like if you're thinking in layman's terms, the hero car, like the not necessarily the one, but the cool car from the movie, the Supra. Okay, big. You could have gotten these so cheap. You could have gotten them for under 20. Now they're going for about 100 grand. Look at this. Oh, hey, look. I loaded up some really basic programs here. Like, is this blowing your mind, kids? Oh, hey, found an image on the web. And look, there's no background. We traced around it. Wow, you must be like some kind of genius. You could go to MIT. Talking up the guy's future. Got that attention disorder. Oh, ADD? I think they call it ADHD now. And it's like, oh man, I feel bad for this guy. And in a way, it's setting him up to get killed later. The director makes it out to be that it's ambiguous whether or not he died. Like, oh hey, so in the second one, we're gonna find out like what happened to them and stuff. No, they're not really. Vin Diesel had some kind of contract issue. I think he wanted to be the highest paid in the franchise, and they didn't agree to it entirely, so he dipped out. And then they must have came back and said, "Hey, we really want you back. We need you." This was not like the biggest hit. I know this crossed like $100,000. Oh shit, 100 million. I don't think it was 100 million domestic. I think it might have been worldwide. At the time, that was working pretty well. I mean, modest budgets making $100 million. It was good business. But now they figure, look, we only have so much time to make these movies. Why don't we just spend an enormous amount of money and make the most money possible? Vin Diesel is more bald now, isn't he? Here it's a very close shave, but it's not a bear like it's stripped down chrome dome now. Thank you for ball bearing turbos, titanium valve springs. We're all about the cars. This could be the same dinner table that they sit at later. Why the double tank top, dude? It makes it look like you got a bra on underneath. Oh, and he's got the bracer thing going? What, are you shooting arrows? Or I guess you don't shoot arrows. In the latest Tomb Raider, it says you loose arrows. And I was like, what does that mean? Very modest backyard. Modest kitchen. Come on, you guys are making money hand over fist, knocking off these electronics trucks, and this is what you got, really? You just put it all in the cars, which you also win races with. So I don't know. Are these guys really saving cash? Oh, it's the troublemaker. Some about the subtitles on this, it's like they're weirdly stacked. If you guys should turn the subtitles on. It's weird how they're placed over who's talking in a way. Is that something Netflix is doing for every movie? I said this gets yanked on September 1st, so I'm curious. So is the idea that Mia's supposed to be his gal in a way? There's dragging the Bruce Lee story. I thought I'd missed it earlier. Oh yeah, look at that canted angles. Woo. But look, the editing is not nearly as tight as it is today. You can't go, what is that, nearly 10 seconds without a cut? You cannot do that today at all. Dang, I did not notice that gal behind the counter. But I did now. Hey, what's up? I'll give you the fist bump before the fist bump is a thing. I need to know what you're buying because I'm looking for guys buying certain things. White boy works fast. Compaq. Man, I remember when Compaq was the computer, like in 96, that was like, whoa. Only in 96. Yeah, everybody was turning those lights out. They'd call those the Altezza lights because the Altezza, which was the LS300, no, it wasn't an LS, it was a ES, no, IS 300, or was it IS 250? It might have been IS 250. Was the American Lexus, but in Japan they called it the Altezza, and it had white instead of red brake lights, and that was the thing. And so every car had some kind of aftermarket brake light swap you could put in. Here, I need to go spy, see what Hector's got. I think he's spying on Hector's crew here. And when he gets caught, he's like, yeah, I was looking to see what they had for race war. What are you going to do, look under the hood of every car? Paul Walker's not even an effective liar. What do we got? Oh, it's Civics, but they're not black. It looks like a dark green to me. When this car came out, I did have a car like what would be used in this movie. The original article that inspired this film, The Street Racer, used a 300ZX, which is what I had. But they did not use a 300ZX in the movie. However, the Supra they ride with has the sound of a 300ZX Turbo and not a Supra. All right, that's Jesse, right? What's he doing here, anyways? I don't understand why he's also snooping. It seems pretty dire, doesn't it? You don't know where the future of this is going. And now we know the modus operandi is to make as many sequels as we possibly can so things are going to be safe. There's also just so much CGI and so much work done, post work, everything in the movies now that they don't feel like they have any stakes, even when they supposedly do. They've got spoon engines, right? 3 Civics with spoon engines. Yeah, okay, so they added some stuff to their car like everybody's doing there. I'm liking Vin Diesel's tight, medium shirt with the V neck. It's a good look, timeless. He's a cop. You're right. I don't know. I'll ask him. Let's go for a ride. That sounds a little ominous. You need to go to the Asian food market or this little ride. All right, kid, stand watch. We're going to take your car because it has four doors. So if your plan was to look at everybody's garage, let's go to all of them together. I mean, hell, that kind of explains why we're there in the first place. There's no engines. Something's up. DVD players. Something is amiss. Man, you don't really see graphics on the side of a car like you did. It's been years since I've seen a car with the neons under it, any of that stuff. Occasionally see like a Civic that's been lowered or has the wheels pushed out. Oh, we got guns. Got the Lexus GS. Now this looks kind of brutal what they do to this guy. But I mean, in movie way, it's not so bad. All right, so where are their engines? They're just gonna like pour some oil in his mouth. I mean, okay, so this is a different spin on waterboarding. All right, so what's the deal? Was he supposed to have delivered these engines, or they take them out of their cars? Does it matter that much? Never kiss a guy's shoes in the movies. You're always going to get kicked in the face. Or the stomach. All right, so they're definitely angling towards the Asians, but if you know how movies work in runtime, you know it's a little too early to have found the culprit. Man, where else have I seen the guy heading this investigation? Give him a cigarette. No, don't. Yeah, yeah, give him a cigarette. Dom's too controlled. These guys are suicidal. Maybe his buddy Vince is doing it. I think the kid's sister's blurring your vision. She's pretty hot. I'll tell you, I've seen her surveillance photos. You read his file? Yeah, I've read it. No, wait. Take a look at this. This is a guy he nearly beat to death with a wrench. A 3/4 inch torque wrench, to be precise. We need those details. Yeah, a lot of self-control in that. Yeah, transition music. This is kind of like what a music montage in The Fast and the Furious looked like. We've got our Supra now covered in primer. I'm going to dinner with your sister here, and I'm going to threaten you before the dinner starts. I want to show you something. And then he's going to tell his side of the story, conveniently as Brian is learning about Dom's past. 900 horses of Detroit muscle. That still sounds like a lot, but now we have a demon that's going like 840. The Hellcat Red Eye is nearly 800. We'll probably have 1,000 horsepower Corvette in a few years. And of course, we have cars that have way more than that. I think the most powerful car yet announced, there's a Lotus. I knew how to pronounce the name. Probably should have remembered what it was. Evage or something. It's got almost 2,000 horsepower, I think it is. This is my dad's car. Now I'm too scared of it. It's such a beast. So much torque, it twisted the chassis off the line, something like that. Twisted the frame as it left the starting line. They don't mention his mom, do they? So a guy responsible for his dad's death, right? He beat the shit out of him. Has to take the bus to work every day. They banned me from the tracks for life. I live my life a quarter mile at a time. For those 10 seconds or less, I'm free. And they play this at the end of the movie, which one of the earlier movies to have a post-credit scene. Oh, well, I thought the Marvel Cinematic Universe invented that. Man, that was one dense parking lot, wasn't it? They call themselves a team, huh? He doesn't go around saying team in the movies. He calls everybody family now, doesn't he? With Dom, everybody's family, it seems. Letty. What is it? Letitia, maybe? She turned 16, and boy, did she get Dom's attention at that point. Quiet little sit down in a cafe. Can they do that in the franchise anymore? I don't think they can. It's like so little to talk about, really. But look at how orange this movie is. The warm colors. It's LA. It's the summer. It's the way things used to look. People had tans. Tanning was cool. Things are so blue and green anymore, aren't they? Especially for a time, they were. That now things just don't look natural in a film, really. I mean, this isn't like overly doctored up with color correction. We've got a place in the shop you can live. I know you're with the cops. We're going to give you a little cot over here in the corner. Yeah, I'm going to take you back to my place, and as in my place, I mean the place I work at, and we're going to bone there. Okay, sounds cool. I wasn't in deep enough with the family, so I had to get with the sister. It's all part of my cover. All right, we're going to go ahead and make a move on the Asians. Everybody get your SWAT gear. And as that's going down, we have them putting the finishing touches on the Supra. A little different than most films and TV, we actually have the one of the principal actors putting on the SWAT gear, the helmet, everything covering up his identity. A lot of times you will see the lead detective go in just kind of wearing the clothes they're wearing already, and the SWAT team's doing this stuff, and they don't have the helmet on or anything like that because you're supposed to recognize the guy from the show. Totally not the way they would go about doing any of this stuff. I mean, what I'm saying as far as the TV, this is what they show in this movie is a little closer to actual protocol. Oh, we got a bust. Guns drawn. I think because he's running away, they're allowed to beat the shit out of him. There we got a little choke slam. And then they show up at the house. Ooh, that's... Now you brought dishonor to my family. It's on. No audible dialogue. No one can simply be arrested in these movies. Okay, we bring you in after you fell off of a crane over a waterfall while jumping across with a motorcycle, but your buddy picked you up in a bobcat. And then we chased down the river in a kayak. And then we can bring you in. All right, meeting back up at HQ. What do we got? Uh-oh, we're going to get chewed out. Look at these CRT monitors. The DVD players were purchased legally. All he's got speeding tickets. Oh, don't you put this on me. I put on who I want. What is that behind him? Is that a fireplace? With like a lampshade over it? You know, they don't show this house from the other angle, but is this the house from Body Double? And I think also, if it's the Body Double house was also in Charlie's Angels, the 99 reboot movie thing, but Drew Barrymore, Lucy Liu, Cameron Diaz. I'm not sure if this is the same house or not. Dom's not going back to prison. That's a choice you're going to have to make. You may have to put him down. And there we go. We're ready for the maiden voyage. Let's make sure we have a lot of stickers on the side telling everybody not necessarily our sponsors, but the parts we used. Which is not, in car racing, it's supposed to be the sponsors. And okay, maybe they also supplied parts, but it's not like they're sponsoring you. So why are you advertising for them? Ferrari 355 Spyder. Very cool looking car. It's not the fastest Ferrari by any means. It looks very nice. It's got a classic look to it. It was also available with an automatic, but what was it? It was like an F1. They called it a Ferrari F1 or 355 F1, and that would designate that it had the F1 derived. Well, it wasn't a dual clutch, I don't think, but it was like a manual shifting automatic, paddle type thing. This was a race back in the day, 2001. Oh, look, we're weaving traffic, guys. There's not a lot of other explosions and wreckage behind us, but this was a race. Now, the 355 0 to 60 is like 4.7 seconds. It's pretty modest. I mean, fast by today against some things, but I mean, actually probably slower than the Civic R that's out right now. But the thing about that car is, if you buy one, you might be able to get one fairly cheap, maybe $100,000. But you're going to have a $40,000 engine out service. Yikes. Might want to get one after somebody had that done. Let them bite that bullet, right? So here we got a little bit of a spill the beans scene. And this movie, if you think about it all, it's really just a ripoff of Point Break from 1991. It was a story, part by James Cameron. Some people even say he possibly directed some of it, but his wife at the time, Catherine Bigelow, is the director of Point Break. In that film, you have surfers / skydivers, adrenaline junkies who rob banks. Well, here we have a different kind of adrenaline junkie. We've substituted surfing for the new cool thing, the street racing scene, and we inserted that into our bank heist narrative. Not necessarily bank heist, more like armored car heist or stagecoach heist type thing. Stealing the semi-trucks with the DVDs and the combo TVs, right? You have your undercover cop trying to get in. His older partner guy kind of has the idea of which angle to take this. We're going to get the young guy in. We're going to teach him up. We're going to get him in. And Vin Diesel is the Patrick Swayze guy. He's Bodie. And they didn't just stick with this. They spun off wildly in this franchise. And now most people can't see that it started out as a Point Break ripoff. This over here, the Race Wars, would be like if Point Break had a surfing competition somewhere, maybe at the end of the third act. Oh, wow. Yeah, girl. Uh, Wet t-shirt stuff. Yay. Look how fairly static the camera is when it's like showing the partying B-roll stuff. Like they just had a tripod on them. Everybody check in. Yay! Straight line racing, baby. Exciting. I think that Lexus over there, that GS 400, I think that had a V8 in it, so it's got that going for it. Oh, look at this goofball. Hey, he's got an RX-7. He should be able to beat her ride. Does she have an Evo? I'm gonna have to take another look at it. Everybody's got their money all wadded up in rubber bands, don't they? All right, am I imagining things where the seats change on her car just now? Yeah, I think she's got an Evo, like maybe a 1 or 2, maybe 3. No. No, it's a, is it a Sylvia or what is it, S13, S15? What else do we see there? I think I see a Terreno. I thought the coolest cars to have then would have been like, okay, the Supra, the RX-7, but an NSX. I don't think you see more than a fleeting NSX shot in these movies. All right, so I'm supposed to be the smart calculating guy, and yet I'm going to bet all against the top guy here. They're going to throw him back into jail after he kills you. Yeah, he did not run this by dumb. More than 100 grand under that car. What are they spending these days? I don't think the tuner scene is as big as it was, in part because the cars are more powerful now. There certainly was a lull where, at the time this movie came out, the cars of the 90s, the mid 90s Japanese cars were faster than what it was a lot outside of Corvette available at the time. But then the power started to kick back up. You started to see like a 6-liter V8 and stuff. Got more cars pushing 400 horsepower at under $40,000 new. And then it just went up. By the time you get 400 plus in that Coyote engine in the Mustang, things just really started to go off the rails quick. The Challenger just got bigger engines, add supercharger. Now you got 800 some horsepower. The fastest car in the world ever made, from like probably 94 was probably when it got the crown, the McLaren F1. Held that title till about 2004. So you're looking at like a mid 90s car is the fastest car until you're sometime into these movies. Then you get Koenigsegg out there, you get Bugatti. SWAT came to my house, disrespected my whole family by kicking that door down. punch. Oh no, don't let him get a 3/4 inch, what, torque wrench, right? Yeah, I'm gonna get in on this too. Leather pants, baby. I need to get me some leather pants to be real with you. I like the angry Vin Diesel frantic voice. Like he has a certain kind of yell. It's not like Arnold Schwarzenegger is like, yeah, but there's like a there's a strain to it. I got to try to work on that. I am working a little bit on a Nicolas Cage impression, and I think I'll try to do Con Air. I think it's on Hulu though. Do a Con Air commentary. I might be able to whip that out. The shirts girls had, there was something, a spaghetti strap, almost tie-dyed look of shirts. It wasn't like people were wearing graphic tees, but there was like a dyed thing that it was like you saw Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera wearing them, then all the girls had to go about it. What we got? Is that an Airstream? Everybody's got their. This doesn't look like no Burning Man. This is a little soiree in the desert, if anything. It's no Coachella either. When you had those people dancing, they didn't really have a stage or DJ pumping shit, right? I didn't see a laser show. These guys are heading off. What, are they doing a job tonight? Spill the beans, Mia. He's talking about trucks. You know anything about trucks? Uh-oh. I'm a cop. You were doing a cop. I gotta stop your brother before he gets himself hurt. A little scene of drama. People don't have time to stand and talk and do a shot reverse shot these days, do they? Now he's got to get her to turn against her brother here. Though you kind of wonder how much about this she actually knew. I could see Dom keeping her at arm's distance, but you saw some of her driving, and then she does some fanciful driving to break Dom out later. What's with the wind in their hair? Do they have the windows down? I don't think you'd get that clear of a conversation going if you did. She's turning him in. Got the tears in her eyes, giving out his phone number. So they're going to trade out those cars for where they have their Civics stashed. Their heist Civics. We want to be real discreet with the black Civics, but we also want that green neon. One man short because was okay. Jesse. Oh, okay. Oh no, Jesse. Okay, Jesse's the whiz kid. It's Vince. was a tough one. What the hell is this guy's name? I don't know. He just split, but okay. So Jesse left because he didn't want to turn over his car to Johnny Tran and Lance Bass. Oh, it's different this time. We're gonna have a little goodbye kiss thing. 'Cause we don't know if we're gonna come back this time. Leon. I need to look up and see what happened to that character. Trace the number. They might be able to do that quicker these days. No, he does not have an iPhone, kids. No touch screen. Yeah, I'll tell you what. In 2001, it was kind of a feat to have a cell phone still. You could still get plots in about going to payphones. There was a movie called Phone Booth. It was like, what, 2002? Guy trapped in a phone booth. You don't even see phone booths now. Jeez, did they drive all night to catch up with this truck? This is not a bad scene either. I mean, it's thrilling enough. It's realistic compared to what shit's going on now, where it looks like they're not even actually outdoors. Uh-oh, you know what's going down. This does remind me of Duel in a way, how you don't see the driver so much, you don't see the panic in him. The trucker is kind of like just this, I don't know, mysterious figure in a way. Almost robotic. What did he see? What did he see that's got him stopped? I didn't see a gun. Now we do. Little Indiana Jones here holding on to the hood ornament. I think this is probably your peak action movie in the film, too. They had to cut around this a lot to try to get it down to a PG-13 because there was a considerable amount of blood on the arm of Vince as he gets wrapped up. Boom. He's going to make some Altezza lights out of those. Are highways this empty ever? For the driver, I don't see the problem in ramming them. You'll mess up their Civic way more in his truck, right? Whoa. Body mechanics there, or biomechanics as they sort of close up on the foot or just parts of the body, not really identifying the actor so much. Now, yeah, the blood here, you have to quickly cut around this because the on-air time, the screen time of the blood ups your chances of getting the R rating. So they had to cut this down carefully. Boom. I'm losing the car. Dom, get out of the way. And we're going to slide under the car again. Aren't we? Isn't that what she does? Totally not realistic. Rolling, rolling, rolling. I'm on it. Go. He gave it his all, guys. And I think she turns out okay. Like, they don't. She's not terribly banged up. Kind of comes out of that crash better than I'm assuming she did Avatar. Though I think my understanding is she's back for the sequels. Like, no one can die in that place. Like, if you die in Pandora, do you get to become a Navi? Damn, shot in the side. All right, he's about to lose his Targa roof here. Look at this empty highway. We cannot have an empty highway chase now, can we? And there goes the Targa. It's not exactly going to be easy to climb over and do this. Stunt double. Whoa. A guy actually did a jump in a movie. How many more shells does the trucker have on him? You know, we saw them drop down. Yeah, now he's getting some more, but we're not seeing this aligning with the trucker. I think that part of the reason why is because we're supposed to have sympathy for these particular characters who otherwise would be the bad guys. We don't want the trucker to seem like he's scared. Like, all of his actions are more justified. But we're not telling their story. We're not telling the story of the truckers here. Hang on. Oh, the cat is about to come leaping out of the bag now. He's lost a lot of blood. We're going to have to call in a chopper. And here it goes. We got the flip phone. Probably razors weren't a thing then, but this is Officer. And now you just kind of hear this swell in the music and Dom's realization here, but it's like, what are we going to do? You know he has a temper issue. She's pleading, don't. Not now. Not this time. And if you go back and watch this movie now, you're thinking, what? There was a time where Dom didn't like Brian? Are you kidding me? This was barely an action movie when it came out. Like, action movie, you're thinking like a lot of gunfire. There wasn't really like a huge sense of adventure to this either. Mild mystery in a way, some car stuff. But now, the case has probably made this as like the biggest action franchise, maybe outside James Bond stuff, which I suppose you could call action. At a time they would just call it like a spy subgenre. Just gotta make a choice. I sold him out, but I can't go with you. Well, we've got a little bit of dramatic orchestral score here, don't we? Oh, look, it's a real helicopter, kids, in a movie. He's got to go find Jesse before Johnny Tran does. I'm not running. Leon and Letty are long gone, and that is the last of Leon. To the best of my knowledge, I haven't seen Calvin and Hobbes or Fate 8, so I'm assuming he's not in those. Just now picking up on this, but it looks to me like Brian O'Connor here's got a Luminox Navy SEAL watch on him. Oh, I'm so sorry. I messed up bad. It's about to get bad for you, kid. Even worse. I'd call you on a cell phone, but they aren't really plentiful at this time. Almost a Michael Bay type shot with the whip around. And they got him. He's down. He's not necessarily responding. I guess at this point we have to assume he died. And I'll tell you, in the 90s, Los Angeles film in this kind of neighborhood, a lot of drive-by shootings. Is that still the case now? It seems to me like the drive-by shooting is almost the perfect crime. Do they ever catch anybody for that? There's like no real evidence. We got some upbeat. One would have called this techno. Techno is kind of an umbrella term for music. We need something like a techno beat. It's kind of a Euro dance step type thing I'm hearing. And now we have a car chase. Car versus crotch rocket. Doom doom doom. Doom doom doom. Doom doom doom. You do get the sense that these people are riding or driving their respective vehicle. And he just does not give a shit if you parked on the street that morning. Doom 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 doom. And look at the shakiness. It's not smooth like the modern films. Where it's too smooth. It's too choreographed. Got a little jump right there. I think Lance kind of gets sideswiped and then not necessarily killed. But with the way these movies go, he could be teaming up with somebody for revenge. Here we go. Whoa. But you kind of see him move. If I remember right, like you see him kind of put his head up a little bit like, oh, he's still alive. Yeah, a little roll over. Oh, I'm in pain. Okay, we'll leave you that way. Boom, shots fired. Oh, way more accurate with my gun. And oh, hey, that graffiti there almost looks like Tommy Lee Jones in a way. And I don't think that's supposed to be any faces in particular, but okay, we're going to rush over there, check and see if he's alive, and it's not looking so good for Johnny Tran. Johnny 25. Call me Johnny 2500 if they knew the truth. Wasn't that what the line was, Con Air? Panting. Brian O'Connor has taken his first life, I'm assuming that's what we're getting out of this. Call 911. It may be a little late for that. And here we go. We have a bit of a duel. We got the... Is it the Challenger and the Supra? Or is that a Charger? I think it might be a Charger. Gosh. A Charger was a two-door back in its muscle car days. It's kind of calm about this, like this was the plan all along. At some point, I'm going to take Brian over here to the train track, tell him the story. Is this the first car in the series with a roll cage? Charger. It's a Dodge Charger, of course. You can see he's got racing tires. Oh, Brian's like, there's no way I can catch up with them. Now, coming up, they actually did some computer work here to composite this shot so that they have them beat the train. I don't like this blurring. This blur effect here looks bad. It's almost a blur morph in a way. And okay, what do we got now? Oh, got fire. My car's falling apart this time. Oh, how the tables have turned. Let's see what you got, kid. I'm so into racing. I am not giving up. I'm taking this all the way. You're a cop. You're going to turn me in. This is my chance to get out. This is my getting on the last wave as Bodie. Can they make it? And it's so fuzzy. Nos. It looks like the Supra crossed first, and that shot right there, that's a composite. They had the train go by, then they did this, and they put it together. Oh, snap. Big crash. Oh, man, you can see the way those tires just got turned in. And Vin Diesel, in typical Dom fashion, kind of casually walks away from this, pulls himself out through the window. Gets to be a recurring thing for his character. He looks just mildly annoyed by it. Okay, my arm hurts a little bit, so I'm going to pull myself out with just my right arm. Yeah, not what I had in mind. Well, you got a chance to turn me in, but you know what? I owe you a car. Comes full circle, huh? What are you going to do, Brian? And here's the keys. And by doing this, it's like Keanu Reeves throwing away his badge. Johnny Utah throws his badge into the sand and walks off, just as you see Brian O'Connor do the same here. Yeah, I let him get away. That's it. I'm off the force. He ends up sticking with the police, but you get the sense that Well, I think in the second one he's not with the cops, but then he's back with the cops in number 4. So, but yeah, he's walking away. This movie is Point Break. And I suppose I'm actually going to have to talk through the credits because we have that scene post credits, don't we? Oh my god. On Netflix, it wants to skip everything. This is a bit of an odd occurrence here. Netflix doesn't seem to recognize that this has a post-credit sequence because it's giving me a countdown of 5 seconds to go to other stuff. I'm going to keep it here on the movie, and hopefully I can talk through this so that I don't get in some kind of copyright trouble as we got Ja Rule going here. Yeah, we have our ray traced graphics here. Some cars mentioning people. I don't think it's entirely a computer effect with these titles. Matt Schultz, I think that's Leon. There's Ja Rule. Yeah, we have a lot of cursing up in the theme at the end here. Screaming, you. They got this soundtrack at Walmart. Man, just imagine if you're Ja Rule and you could have the song for each Fast and Furious movie. The money he passed up. Fire Festival instead. Man. A Rob Cohen film. What he did Triple X with Vin Diesel, so they kind of left the franchise to go do that. And it looked like a bad move at the time, and then they kind of got back into it. But ultimately, it's like Vin Diesel's allowed to do both. I believe Vin Diesel worked out some kind of contract to get himself back into the franchise. That, and I think this has been misquoted, I think he has ownership of the Dominic Toretto character. In that it's like he's going to get a huge chunk from the movies. I'd read that he had worked his way back in, but was given the rights to Riddick, Chronicles of Riddick. But I don't think that's actually the case because it doesn't seem related. I don't think that's a Universal franchise. I could be mistaken. But as Universal goes, this is the closest thing Universal has to a comic book franchise right now, if you think about it. I suppose there's 300ZX in the back right there. I suppose that the Jurassic franchise, Park and then World, is the big thing for Universal. But, you know, if you're looking at cranking out a lot of movies, this franchise has managed to do that. And people would say that they're able to do that because of the diversity. I don't think that people were looking at this one going, oh, look, there's an Asian I can relate with. There's not an Asian in his crew, you know, among the heroes. Oh, look, okay, there's the white guy. Look, we have a black guy in there. Not really. Your black guy in this movie would be Ja Rule or the guy overseeing the investigation. They brought in a lot of diversity into the crew as far as their heist stuff goes, Dom's family. But I don't think that's necessarily the reason why it's popular. I don't think people were going, oh, look, I want to relate to Tyrese, so I'm going to go see the movie. I don't think people were actually seeing these movies because of some weird identifying with people stuff. I didn't see it going down like that. Yeah, I could be wrong. I mean, it's popular in Asia because it has some of their vehicles. They've gotten far away from the Japanese makes when it comes to these films, though. I think in a lot of ways it's persistence. This was a franchise that was almost going to go to video after Too Fast, Too Furious. Kind of underperformed. I felt like Tokyo Drift breathed new life into the franchise, and for that reason, that's the next one I'm going to be talking about. And we'll compare and contrast the different styles I mean, look at this. This is fairly simple credits. Nowadays, you work up so much closing credit effects. Everybody puts all that effort into the closing credits. Films just kind of start now, and then you have a big closing credit sequence. Murder Inc. Would that be Ja Rule's label? See if we recognize any of the names here on the music performed by Tank. Saliva. All right, surely you got the closing sequence here, Netflix, the one that you tried to make me skip. Kodak Motion Picture Film, color by Deluxe. 2001, that was a good year for me, not gonna lie. And I do like that 97 Universal logo. Oh, wait, no, I like the one before that. Baja, Mexico. It would appear as though he traded the Supra. There's the life quarter mile at the time speech. So he's got what, a Chevelle SS here for those 10 seconds or less. Okay. But does it matter that he's in Mexico that much? I guess. I mean, they have some heist activities in Fast and Furious, right? Mexico area. He's got his crew assembled there. All right, so that's going to do it. Up next, I will do Tokyo Drift.